following Israel's strikes inside Syria last week. One which targeted a government building that the Trump administration is, of course, trying to build up. Axios is reporting on recent conversations inside the White House regarding Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his government. Long story short, Donald Trump is getting fed up. One White House official described Netanyahu as, quote, a madman to Axios, claiming he bombs everything all the time and that it could undermine the Trump White House's efforts in the region. Another official pointed to the shelling of a Catholic church in Gaza last week, saying the feeling is that every day there's something new. 6 officials also told Axios that last week's attack in Syria, which ended with a U.S. brokered ceasefire, left the White House significantly more alarmed about Netanyahu and his regional policies. Let's bring in one of the reporters from the story, White House correspondent for Axios, Mark Caputo, also with us, staff writer for the New York Times, Ronen Bergman, who has recently reported on how Netanyahu prolonged the war in Gaza to stay in power. Mark, let's begin with you, and quite an Axios report, something that we had been hearing about from the White House a bit, Donald Trump getting impatient, but that impatience is turning to anger. Tell us about it.
Yeah, from what we understand, it was almost one of those moments where Donald Trump turned on the television. He's like, we're bombing, or the Israelis are bombing Damascus, sort of what's going on. Now, that's not a direct quote, but that was one of the senses that was conveyed to me. And as you just read from that quote, it seems like there's sort of something new every day. There wasn't just the Gaza church bombing, or there wasn't just the bombing in Damascus, but then there's been certain social policy issues. Mike Huckabee, who's the U.S. ambassador to Israel, had to write a letter essentially threatening Israel because it was blocking visas for Christians who were coming over. That's something Mike Huckabee used to do in his private life prior to rejoining government. In addition to that, there was a Florida man, I'm sorry, I'm going to mispronounce his last name, Saif Musalet, who was beaten to death in the West Bank. And the United States wants answers about that. They're not getting many answers there either. So there's just these combination of things that are just sort of a mounting frustration. And obviously the war in Gaza is just sort of dragging on. Trump wants to have an end to it, but it doesn't seem like it's happening yet.
No, it's certainly not. And, you know, Ronen, you look, we've seen, obviously, since October the 7th, Netanyahu doing what the Israeli people, and I think most of his allies, have wanted him to do, and that is to go after the Hamas terrorist organization, go after the network. But as the Trump administration is saying, it seems like it's something new every day. Every day you're hearing about more Palestinians getting shot up, getting bombed, getting killed at relief sites where they're starving and they're going for food. You had Mark talking about the bombing of the church in Gaza. Mike Huckabee, after attending a trial for Netanyahu earlier in the week, showed up on the West Bank to talk to Christians who were being persecuted again in the West Bank, and that persecution is ongoing. And then, of course, the killing of Americans. And your reporting laid out in great detail what many people have been concerned about now for a year or two, and that is that Netanyahu knows when the shooting stops, his coalition is likely to end as well. And so it's one war after another war after another war, one fight, another fight after another fight. And in the meantime, as I'm sure Richard Haass, we lost Ronen. Richard Haass, I'm sure that you would agree that you know, demolishing Hezbollah, Hamas, Iran, hurting Iran's air defenses, all great things. But there's a lot of bad with the good, and he seems content on provoking hostilities every day. At least that's what the Trump administration's saying right now.
Yeah, Joe, I think the distinction you draw is exactly right. There's on one hand where Israel has, quote unquote, remade the Middle East. What's happened with Iran, what's happened with Hezbollah, the military weakening of Hamas, and that's widely applauded. It's really been quite extraordinary. And I think there's also, there was and still is great understanding, sympathy for Israel about October 7th. Where I think Bibi Netanyahu has increasingly lost the United States and the Middle East, though, is what you might call October 8th and beyond. The continued use of military force in Gaza, where upwards of what now, 50, 60,000 people have been killed. The pressure against aid shipments, humanitarian aid getting in, the forcing of over 2 million people into a tiny sliver of territory. Now the bombings in Syria at a time the United States has been working with the Saudis in order to consolidate the power of the new government there. The continuing violence in the West Bank of settlers against Palestinians there. So what you're seeing is sympathy and even respect on one hand, but a real growing distance and alienation on the other. And as Ronan's important reporting showed, that a lot of this seems to be motivated less by a strategic agenda and more by a political agenda.
Yeah, it's not just 50 or 60,000 people. So many of these are women and children. We have more reports in recent days about Palestinians just trying to get food and water and being fired upon, people on the ground, witnesses saying something by the Israeli military. I mean, the images coming from that enclave are so terribly ghastly. And Mark Caputo, we know President Trump does react to things viscerally. We have heard as well that he's had a hard time with some of the images coming from Gaza. But this is also a president who just a few weeks ago was really celebrating his partnership with Prime Minister Netanyahu over the strikes in Iran, was calling on Israel to quit its criminal prosecution in Netanyahu, to abandon that long-delayed trial. So take us a little more into your reporting here about his frustration level. Is there a point where even for Trump, Bibi goes too far? And if that's the case, how could that relationship change further?
Yeah, I don't know when that point is. I don't think we're at that point yet. Obviously, publicly, Donald Trump has continued to praise Netanyahu. Privately, he's expressed concerns about what's happening. But in the end, Donald Trump and Netanyahu have had a very long relationship. At times, it's been contentious. There has been mistrust. But Donald Trump also knows that October 7th was a terrorist attack, and Hamas is ultimately to blame for it and for the taking of hostages, including some U.S. citizens at the time. And there are still hostages, some remains, that is, some people are dead and the remains are held by Hamas. Others, a few, are still alive, and they haven't been returned. And so until Hamas kind of negotiates more in good faith, I think Donald Trump is going to continue to stick by Netanyahu. That having been said, if Netanyahu does what he did last week, which is just sort of start bombing another country, in this case Syria, without giving the United States a heads up or a say, it's going to continue to cause continuous problems. There's this sort of delicate balancing act in the Middle East, and Netanyahu is sort of the one who is setting the apple cart at different times in other countries. One thing I think that's important to know is other countries in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, they're coming to the United States and they're pitching the U.S. saying we can be as reliable a partner as Israel without the drama. And that starts to have a real effect on the ears of U.S. policymakers, including Donald Trump.